Hey guys, just wanted to do my react. I was more a review to Arrow season 6 episode 9, Irreconcilable Differences. So I did attempt to do a reaction video to this episode. I had some technical difficulties. The video got cut off. Like, break it up into a two-part reaction, but the first half got blocked. Thoughts on the episode, and because the YouTube video editor doesn't seem to be available anymore, and I wasn't able to splice the video together, I just said the hell with it. You guys are gonna have to bear with me, and this is gonna have to be just a general review, and I won't be able to do any more Arrow reactions until it comes back in January. Like I know you guys prefer reaction videos, but yeah, guys have to bear with me. Like doing these videos is not as easy as it looks. But anyway, the episode starts off where at Felicity's wedding reception, which kind of pisses me off because of the fact that at the end of Crisis on Earth X, we all know that Felicity asked Diggle to officiate Felicity, her and Oliver's ceremony right in the middle of Barry and Iris's ceremony, which is incredibly rude, a dick move. Like, it's already been, their ceremony was already interrupted enough times to the point where it's like even Barry and Iris seem kind of bitter that they did that, and so it makes it all the more pointless as to like why they even they would even do that when they were going to have their own wedding reception in the first place, and they even got to have like a real wedding, and it's like I don't even give a damn about this relationship, and it's like they actually had to have they actually had a bigger reception than Iris and Barry, and they're like personally the more stable relationship in my opinion, and I was shocked to find out that this was Greg Berlanti, not Mark Guggenheim's idea to have the double wedding, and because I would have thought, Guggenheim would do this because he's the producer on Legends and Arrow and a big Felicity shipper. But then it was Greg Berlanti's idea, and then I found it on social media. The guy had his own wedding like not that long ago, so it's like, why would he ever think that? Would he want other people to crash his own wedding and want to have their own wedding at his ceremony? Like, I don't know what he was thinking. And we also spent like probably like the first like 10 minutes of a 10-minute cold opener like at this reception where even like they bring back Felicity's parents, Noah Cutter and Donna Smoke, and they have them like, bickering back and forth, and Donna being like a little bit nagging about how like they weren't invited to the wedding, and although Thea mentions that she was upset about not being invited, but I don't know. Then they have like the bickering, and they have the bickering of Noah and Donna back and forth, and you're kind of just wondering how like Noah's even able to be at that wedding reception, considering he's a wanted man, and especially since Quentin shows up and didn't like try to put him in handcuffs. And there's a moment between Quentin and Donna where she sees him sober for the first time, and then they have like the newbies like all having drinks. Like Curtis gets particularly drunk because he's so bummed about his falling out with Paul that he tries to give a speech where like he's so intoxicated it ends up becoming more of a rant in which Renee has to take over and say how this couple has never been more in love. I'm happy to call Oliver a friend, but then of course that's when Quentin gets the phone call saying that someone on the team is going to testify against Oliver and say he's the Green Arrow, help Agent Watson's case. And so Oliver gets so paranoid that he asks Felicity to spy on them like by tracking the GPSs in their phone. And that's when he finds out about Dinah's meetings with the vigilante, And of course, and it's not like we get any more backstory about his why why he's doing what he's doing, or as to, or even, I don't know. It's just like we don't get any more. I don't. I don't know. Like it's still like a crappy reveal that he's the one of all people turned out to be vigilante, and because of the fact that the original Team Arrow finds out about this, they only call Renee and Curtis when they have to go on a mission to retrieve some kind of device for Cayden James, because he sent Black Siren to kidnap Quentin Lance as a hostage and as a bargaining chip. And Thea tried to defend Quentin when the latter was walking the former back to home, and I guess because Thea was in a coma and she hasn't had, and she's been out of the field for such a long time in general, that she was easily overpowered by Black Siren even without her canary cry. And so they have to break it. So the team has to break into Argus, and there is a funny moment where Curtis, who's still like hungover from the night before, is about to throw up in a garbage can, but that's where Felicity's hiding and like running the operation, and she slaps him, saying, like, "You are not going to throw up in here. I'm ready to spend my honeymoon in a dumpster." So they're able to retrieve the device. They plan to sabotage it, or keep it from working long enough to get Quentin back. And then Dinah asks like why she was excluded from the team, and Oliver comes clean as to why. She's pissed that Oliver was spying on her, and he finally discloses to the team that somebody's going to sell him out to Watson and testify against him during his trial. And when things start to get heated, and because Oliver's been spying on spying on at least the newbies, and they're pissed that he didn't try to assume that Diggle and Felicity were possible traitors, because it's like, oh, they had a longer history. Renee finally comes clean and says that he's the one testifying against Oliver, and it turns out and this is a common fan theory, that Renee was going to be the witness, because Agent Watson approached him and threatened to take away any chance he had of regaining custody of his daughter Zoe if he didn't. And then naturally they call, and I mean, it's hard not to. I mean, it's a mixed bag. It's kind of hard not to be too mad at him, just because like, one, it is his daughter, and second, like, Wild Dog has always been like kind of an impulsive character, and he can try to find a third option, or just come to Team Arrow about it. So which is why the rest of the team is understandably pissed and call him out on that for not trying to reach out to them before. And now it's like, what's done is done, and Oliver, even though he's later confides to Thea that he's sympathetic about his motivation, he still tells him tells him to get out of the Arrow Cave. And of course he confides in Thea about trying to understanding his motivations, and I guess it's that talk with her that he's able to convince Renee to accompany everybody on the mission to go save Quentin, because his life is more important than whatever kind of whatever drama is going on within the team. And there is like a scene that I really did enjoy, but which was between Quentin and Black Siren, in which the latter, when the former asks the latter, "Do you see your own father when you look at me?" And she says no, because Earth 2 Quentin actually died in a car accident and was killed by a drunk driver in a head-on collision when he was on his way to pick up Earth 2 Laurel's birthday cake for her 13th birthday. And obviously she's been through it shows that it's a taste of like the ongoing trauma she's been through, apparently, while back on Earth 2. And it wasn't just with it's like losing Oliver, then losing her dad, and we don't know about her mom. I still, like I mentioned in other videos, I don't know if she ever had, if there was an Earth 2 Sarah. Um, and Quentin is like reminiscing about how he always used to pick up Laurel's birthday cake. Um, it was like yellow cake with chocolate frosting, and these two actors like really play off each other well. And I like the line saying is like, "Well, I guess you're stuck knowing me," and they have a really strong like connection, on screen like father daughter bond. But it is like kind of weird. I guess considering Katie Cassidy to lose her own father like a couple weeks back, so I don't know when this episode was being filmed. So it's kind of so you can't help but wonder like what if this was filmed like before, how this is when this was filmed, like did it happen like within that time frame? Um, was it filmed within the time frame of when, or maybe it happened before? I don't know. It's kind of like it makes it seem like even sadder to watch, considering life ended up imitating art in her case, and my condolences for her and her family. And but later in the episode, um, Oliver does try to give the device over to Kane James and during the exchange, but he somehow figured out that the device was sabotaged, and at insult to injury, even though Oliver says, "Let's put our differences aside and make sure we save Quentin's life," Renee and um, Curtis are still pissed about being spied on by Diggle, Felicity, and Oliver, to the point where it's like which is what drives them to like go off and look for Quentin in spite of you know risking and ruining the whole exchange as it was. And they weren't, and because of that, they weren't in a position when Kate and James's men started attacking Oliver and Black Canary, and it's only after they were able to find Quentin Lance that I guess they were able to just come to their aid. And I guess it's because of that story, that scene between Quentin and Laurel, that when Laurel is running off with Quentin, that she actually sets him free and tells him to run. And then you see Black Siren use her canary cry to cause this I don't know, this like rubble to like, I guess like these like construction site debris, for lack of better terms, to fall in front of Oliver just to make her escape. And Oliver is pissed because of the fact that he was willing to forgive Renee for the betrayal because he disobeyed commands and almost risked Quentin's life. That he says that you blew your second chance, you don't get a third, and kicks him off the team. But then Dinah and Curtis subsequently leaves because they're both pissed about the fact that they were being spied on. And so now it's just Diggle, Felicity, and Oliver that are left. And it turns out that not only did Black Siren place a hidden camera inside the Arrow Cave when she broke into it in the season 6 premiere, but it turns out Caden James is working with Richard Dragon, Anatoly, Vigilante, and Mark Guggenheim mentioned this was going to happen. This was going to be like a cabal of villains, independent villains that we saw throughout the first half of the season, eventually joined forces to take down Team Arrow, to have try to keep up with this theme of family, and everybody's going to have their own personal rivals. And but the thing is, here's what doesn't make sense to me. Like, Vigilante has always been portrayed throughout the show so far as someone who was like willing to kill any criminal with a pulse. Like these people will be the first ones he'd be willing to mow down. And if for some reason he's joining up with people that he would never be in the same room with under any other circumstances, like, this is like they're further ruining this character. And I mean, is that the first time we've had Team Arrow? There's been a schism among Team Arrow, or Oliver's quit the team, but it's kind of, I don't know. There's something about it where it's like I wasn't bothered by it. It still seemed like a very interesting to see how, the irony of the title, and how long this is actually going to play out. If it's going to be like a 3 episode arc, or if like Dinah, Renee, and Curtis are going to start like working together independent of Team Arrow, because they already have like two fighters, as well as Curtis acting as a tech guy. So I can see them working independently and act of Team Arrow, and acting like their own like vigilante um, group. So I guess that's the direction. Maybe that's the direction they're taking it in, and I guess they wanted to like um, I guess it was their way of trying to like raise the stakes of having the two teams like separate to the point where it's like it makes them more vulnerable against this cabal of villains who have been playing them like a fiddle. But the thing is that it's it does this whole like I knew they were gonna all these villains were gonna be joining up, but it doesn't have like this. But it just feels like kind of forced. It doesn't have any kind of pack any kind of punch. Like at least with the Legion of Doom on Legends of Tomorrow, there was a slow build up to the formation of that team, because with Thawne working with Dark in 1945 and the 1980s, and their storylines were connected, and then the recruitment of Malcolm, and eventually Leonard Snart, like they all had a common goal to change their fates. And with the Thinker is that at least with the villains of the week, the first half of Flash and the Thinker, like they were all like pawns of the Thinker's plan to, I guess, not only transfer his mind into another body, but I guess carry out something called the Enlightenment. So it's like the storylines interconnected there. So I guess maybe because there was no like Nick Fury moment of sorts in terms of like this formation of this whole group, that it just felt like just kind of sudden. And then you have like Richard Dragon, who didn't only have like one episode and didn't do all that much. And he was supposed to be like the main villain, or at least Mark Guggenheim said he was supposed to be the main villain. But I guess that was supposed to be a deliberate misdirect, and I guess it makes more sense if Caden James would be the main villain. But I mean, this whole finale was kind of a mixed bag, which is probably why to give it a 6.5 out of 10. It's decent. I enjoyed it, but it also has its fair share of problems. But anyway, guys, what do you think of the episode? How do you think it ranks? How would you rank the four Arrowverse mid-season finales: Supergirl, Legends, Flash, Arrow? Leave your thoughts in the comments down below. If you like this video, like, share, and subscribe, and I'll talk to you guys soon. Take care.